everyone, and welcome to SRA 221. During this lecture, we will discuss security basics and information security. In the previous video, we discussed threats, which are potential dangers or avenues for attacks on information systems. We went over vulnerabilities, which are weaknesses and software or systems resources that can be exploited by attackers. We also went over the types of attacks, which are passive and active. We reviewed how each attack is different from each other. Keep in mind that passive attacks do not alter any type of transmission data from the user to the attacker, whereas in active attacks, there is an attack agent that disturbs, corrupts, and interferes with the packet transmission to exploit vulnerabilities and execute a malicious attack. Lastly, we discussed countermeasures, which are extremely important to information security. These include prevention, detection, and recovery. Remember, prevention is always the key in maintaining the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of any information system. Here we view countermeasures in terms of functional requirements, and we follow the classification defined in FIPS PUB 200, Minimum Security Requirements for Federal Information and Information Systems. This standard enumerates 17 security-related areas. The requirements listed in FIPB PUB 200 encompass a wide range of countermeasures to security vulnerabilities and threats. Each of the functional areas may involve both computer security technical measures and management measures. Functional areas that primarily require computer security technical measures include access control, identification and authentication, system and communication protection, and system and information integrity. Functional areas that primarily involve management controls and procedures include awareness and training, audit and accountability, certification, accreditation and security assessments, contingency planning, maintenance, physical and environmental protection, planning, personal security, risk assessment, and system and service acquisition. Functional areas that overlap computer security technical measures and management controls include configuration management, incident response, and media protection. So what do you think are the most prevalent security problems seen nowadays, and why are they important to us? This information can be found in your assigned GAO reading. In particular, you should think about the key sources of cyber threats. This is a reading that provides important information about cyber threats and details about who the main cyber threat sources are. Additionally, the reading discusses types of techniques that attackers use to conduct their malicious intent. In the cyber world, there are many sources of cyber threats, which include foreign nations. Foreign intelligence services use cyber tools as part of their information gathering and espionage activities. According to the Director of National Intelligence, a growing array of state and non-state adversaries are increasingly targeting for exploitation and potentially disruption or destruction information infrastructure, including the Internet, telecommunications networks, computer systems, and embedded processors and controllers in critical industries. Criminal groups. There is an increased use of cyber intrusions by criminal groups that attack systems for monetary gain. Hackers sometimes crack into networks for the thrill of the challenge or for bragging rights in the hacker community. While remote cracking once required a fair amount of skill or computer knowledge, hackers can now download attack scripts and protocols from the internet and launch them against victim sites. Thus, attack tools have become more sophisticated and easier to use. Hacktivists' hacktivism refers to political motivated attacks on publicly accessible web pages or email servers. These groups and individuals overload email servers and hack into websites to send a political message. Disgruntled insiders. The disgruntled insider, working from within an organization, is a principal source of computer crimes. Insiders may not need a great deal of knowledge about computer intrusions because their knowledge of a victim system often allows them to gain unrestricted access to cause damage to the system or to steal system data. The insider threat also includes contractor personnel. Terrorists seek to destroy, incapacitate, or exploit critical infrastructures to threaten national security, cause mass casualties, weaken the U.S. economy, and damage public morale and confidence. However, traditional terrorist adversaries of the United States are less developed in their computer network capabilities than other adversaries. Terrorists likely pose a limited cyber threat. The Central Intelligence Agency believes terrorists will stay focused on traditional attack methods, but it anticipates growing cyber threats as a more technically competent generation enters the ranks. Now that we have discussed the sources of cyber threats we face, we now need to understand the types of attacks that could be encountered. The first type of attack, denial of service, is a method of attack that denies system access to legitimate users without actually having to compromise the targeted system. From a single source, the attack overwhelms the target computers with messages and blocks legitimate traffic. It can prevent one system from being able to exchange data with other systems or prevent the system from using the internet. The distributed denial of service attack is a variant of the denial of service attack that uses a coordinate attack from a distributed system of computers rather than a single source. It often makes use of worms to spread to multiple computers that can then attack the target. Exploit tools are publicly available and are sophisticated tools that intruders of various skill levels can use to determine vulnerabilities and gain entry into target systems. Logic bombs are a form of sabotage in which a programmer inserts code that causes the program to perform a destructive action when some triggering event occurs, such as terminating the programmer's employment. Sniffers, synonymous with packet sniffer, is a program that intercepts routed data and examines each packet in search of specified information, such as passwords transmitted in clear text. Trojan horse is a computer program that conceals harmful code. A Trojan horse usually masquerades as a useful program that a user would wish to execute. And last, the virus, which is a program that infects computer files, usually executable programs, by inserting a copy of itself into the file. These copies are usually executed when the infected files is loaded into memory, allowing the virus to infect other files. Unlike the computer worms, a virus requires human involvement, usually unwitting, to propagate. There is an annual CSI FBI survey to get a sense on the current status of cybersecurity for business infrastructure. Reading this survey will give you a perspective on where we stand with respect to attacks on information systems, as well as security measures in place to prevent such attacks from occurring. Based on the reading, you should be able to identify the range of threats present in terms of frequency, cost incurred, and the scale of disruption to services. Additionally, reflect on the survey and determine whether or not you trust the information provided in the report. Finally, think about why this topic is still a concern. Despite so much improvement in time developing secure software and information systems, why do you think we still have so many problems in regards to security nowadays? Here you will see a graphic representation of losses in the millions of dollars to businesses and which attacks are responsible for them. You will notice that virus contamination is one of the costliest problems for information systems, followed by unauthorized access to data, theft, and so forth. I encourage you to take this chart and compare it to the most up-to-date survey. Look at the differences. Similarly, take a look at the prevention mechanisms reported in the survey. Notice that the prevention mechanisms exactly match the most common problems reported in the previous chart. At the top, you will see that antivirus software is there, along with firewalls and virtual private networks. When you reference the previous chart, you will see that buyers' contamination and unauthorized access to data in the highest categories. In this chart, look at the types of attacks experienced by respondents of the survey in correlation to the year. You will notice that respondents heavily experienced malware many years ago and ended up dropping, only to start skyrocketing back up. Think about why this is happening. Take a moment to take a look at all these, look at the trends, and think about potential vulnerabilities that are present in today's society. In the next lecture, we will discuss more in depth about security implications. We'll go over the software flaws along with malware, which lead to security implications.